Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Mark, a trainer here at WEX Field Service Management, and today we are covering Schedule and Dispatch Advanced. This webinar will cover advanced scheduling features like tracking leads, scheduling multi-day appointments. We'll look at appointment details and notification defaults, other events, which is non-customer facing events, how to leverage flag for follow-up for callbacks, time clock, and some reporting for scheduling. We'll do our live Q&A at the end where you can get your questions answered live on stream. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into WEX FSM. Now, today is a advanced course, so I will assume that you know the very basics, but today we're going to pinpoint some of the more advanced features that are available to you with the scheduling feature. First, let's go ahead and look at how you can track leads when you are creating an appointment. To create an appointment, we'll go ahead and click New and select our customer. We'll choose Justin. And then, like normal, you've got your job location. Is this a new job or is this calling back to a previous job? Let's say that for this is a simple no AC call, and we'll consider this a service job type. However, you might notice there is a little button here that says Show Lead. Click on that, and that will open a new drop-down, which, maybe you've never seen this drop-down before. Clicking on that will open up a lead generation portal, and this will allow you to select a lead source. So if I click the drop down, there are options here that I can choose from. If you have not set up your lead sources yet, there will be some very generic leads here. Email marketing is very popular, word of mouth, etc. But this is really just asking, where did your customer hear about your company and where is this business coming from? Where did this lead generate? If you want to update your lead sources to make your own custom leads, because you would know better than anyone where your customers are coming from, you will do that by going to Settings, Marketing. And the very first tab when you go to Settings, Marketing, is the Lead Sources tab. Again, this will come with some defaults, so you may just use the defaults and that's fine. But if you want to add your own lead sources, you will click the plus button here, enter a lead source name. You can put a description if you want as well and click Save. And then whatever you have as a lead source on this page is what will be available in the drop-down here. Let's say that this person heard about us from an email marketing campaign that we did. And one other thing that I do recommend doing is understanding how this opportunity button works for your close rate. So maybe for most of your jobs, and actually for this particular job, this would not be considered an opportunity because it's a service call. It's a one and done. We're going to go fix their AC, no problem. But maybe we are doing a furnace install. Whoops. And for this furnace install, this is going to be a big, expensive piece of new equipment, and we're going to make a proposal, an estimate, and give this to our customer where they will then either approve or decline this work. If they approve it, that will be seen as a job won. If they decline it, that will be seen as a job lost. And then on your proposals report, you're able to see your close rate. How many jobs out of all proposals created did you win versus lose? Now, the only way that your system will be able to track that is if you are marking those jobs as opportunities. And so By default, opportunity is turned off. Maybe the majority of jobs that you're doing are just single family home, residential, one and done jobs. But for jobs that will have a big proposal and your customers will choose yes or no, you'll want to turn opportunity on here. That way, when you do the job, or let's say you send the proposal to the customer, whether they approve or decline, that will then affect your close rate. And knowing your close rate is very handy. Knowing how many jobs you are winning versus losing will give you a gauge on maybe changing some things to get more wins. But to track that in your system and make that easy for you, you can always mark jobs as opportunity as needed. And you would do that right from the leads section. So that is tracking a lead. And then down below here, let's look at another option that you have that's a little more advanced. And that would be you can set multi-day appointments. So, for example, right now, if I wanted to schedule, let's say that this is a job that I know I want my technician to work Monday through Friday next week. It's a multi-day job. It's going to be an entire week, 9 to 5, and they're going to be on the job site the whole time. You could technically create an individual appointment for each day, but that takes a lot of time, and you have to make sure that you're assigning everything to the same job, or else they'll all be separate. That's not what we want. Instead, you can use the Show Advanced button. So click Show Advanced. And then now this gives us some more options for frequency. If we hover over this little eye here, it will tell us some options that we can choose. Every weekday, every 2 weeks on Tuesday. You just put in the interval that you want this to repeat on, the frequency. So for our example, we will start this. Let's say that starting on Monday, May 4th. That's when this will start. And then we want this to repeat every weekday. And if we hover, we can see every weekday is an option here. And we want it every weekday from Monday to Friday the 8th. And this is letting us know this will reoccur every weekday until May 8th. And we know that we want to send our technician out there from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. each day. And we'll go ahead and send our technician, Dustin Bailey, out there. And there we go. So this is letting us know recurring appointment info. This will reoccur every weekday until May 8th. And let's click schedule. Now let's go to the 4th. And there we go. And if we click through our days here, we can see, or I could just go to weekly view and see that as well. That now with one full sweep, we just needed to schedule one time. We are able to make a multi-day appointment. And this is just an example, me doing it Monday through Friday. You could have it be uh, each Monday for 6 weeks. Get creative on how you need the appointments to be. But that's an example of doing a multi-day appointment. Let's go back into our appointment details. We'll go back to today and to our daily view and click new. Let's get a new customer. Let's get Emily Davis in here. And let's take a deeper dive into the different options you have for information gathering. We have your job location. If you click the drop down for the job location, you can see that there are multiple locations. But let's say you're talking to the customer and they're like, I moved and I need to update my address on file. technically, you could just go to their customer page and update it there. But if you're in the middle of creating an appointment, you don't want to have to go to a different page and click out of this. So you can edit. If you notice these little pencil and paper icons, those allow you to edit this information without leaving the appointment modal. So if you want to edit an address, you just click on that edit button, click on the address you want to edit, make those changes and click save. That will save to the customer profile, and you didn't have to leave your appointment to do so. Also, if you look, we have appointment. This is the appointment tab. We also have a calls and notes tab. Any notes that have been created, whether it is from you in the office or out in the field, you'll see notes here. So you can reference any notes for this customer. If you see a little exclamation mark here, that means that there's something you need to look at. And so this is saying that there is a balance. This customer owes us money. And maybe before you go out and do another job for them, you'll recognize, oh, hey, you didn't pay your last bill. Would you like to settle up on that before we come out to do this new job? Maintenance will show any maintenance plans that this customer has and details about that. And then equipment will also show you any equipment that they have, and it is per location. So as you filter through different locations, it will then update the data on each of these tabs. Next, let's look at appointment notifications, and then we have a way that you can update the messaging and the defaults for scheduling. So, what does that mean? Each appointment at the bottom allows you to send a appointment confirmation. So if scheduled is turned on, you hit schedule. That will send an appointment confirmation. You can send 1 week or 1 day prior reminders, and you can send an en route message. Basically, if I'm a technician, I'm sitting in the truck, I'm ready to drive out to my customer, I'll hit on my way from the mobile app, and that will then send a message to the customer, letting them know I'm on the way. Now, maybe you want to set the defaults for these because each time you're having to change and update this. If you want to just set the defaults for these, that way every time they are they're toggled on or off based on your preference, that is done by going to settings. You know what? Let me just see if I remember here. Yep, that's right. Settings, call and notifications, appointment notifications. And then that's the only thing on this page. You can set what you want your defaults to be. I like having the appointment scheduled and en route turned on, and then the weekly, daily reminder I have turned off. Click save, and then every time you go to create a appointment, that is what the defaults will be here. Okay. And if you want to update what the actual message says, so like when a scheduled message goes out, when the en route message goes out, you can update what that messaging says by going to settings, call and notifications. And we have two pages for this. There's a separate page for email and a separate page for text messages. Let's use email as an example, but just know if you make updates to email, you'll still need to go into text message and make the same update if you want those to be the same. From here, we have every message that gets sent out from your system is here. Appointment scheduled, appointment reminders, cancellations, updates, maintenance plan request, renewals. When your text says I'm on the way, this is the message that is sent. And with all of these, you will click into the text box here, type in your message. Maybe you want to make this a little more closer to your brand and your voice of how your company likes to sound to your customers. And then down below, you will see an example of what this will look like when your customer sees it. Now, I do have a pro tip here. If you want your technician's profile picture to show up in the tech and route message, which is nice. You know, if I look, I can see a picture of my technician. When they get here, I can see it's the same person, kind of a safety feature almost. You can simply click into the message and select on the left-hand side, tech image. That will automatically pull the technician that's assigned to the job. And if they have a image in their user page, like a profile picture, it will show that profile picture here when your customer receives this message. And final thing here, if you go to, well, for scheduling specifically, these are the ones you want to update for scheduling. Appointment scheduled, appointment reminder, appointment cancellation, and appointment update. If you make changes to email, just make sure that you go in and also make that change to the text notifications if you want those to be the same. All right, next, let's look at other events. Actually, I really love this. This allows you to get more personalized in your system. And we're going to go back to today's date. And I'm going to create an appointment just like normal. We're going to click new. But instead of choosing customer appointment, we're going to choose other event. Other events are for internal events. They're not customer facing. And this is, there's a lot of different things that you might want to use this for. Maybe you want to say someone's going to be at a doctor's appointment and you just want to put that they are unavailable because they are out sick. You can enter that information here. You can put in the first date. Maybe they are going to be out for the entire day. So I will want to set this, you know, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And frequency, is this happening one time, daily, weekly, etc.? Maybe they're just going to be out for the day at the doctor. And then users, I can assign. Let's say that Dustin is the one who is going to be out. And if they have something on their schedule, it will let you know this conflicts with another appointment. So that is nice and handy. Actually, let's do Bruce. Say Bruce is sick. Oh, Bruce also has. Maybe Caleb? Okay, so Caleb's going to be out sick at the doctor. You can put in description here if you need to and hit schedule. And now we can see Caleb is out sick. This comes in handy too. If you're going to put in these internal events and then you go to try to schedule Caleb on a day he's going to be out, it will let you know that there's an appointment overlap. So that's one way of doing using the other events feature. But let's do, oh, sorry, click other event. You can also set up your own event types. So get custom with this. Maybe you want to put in everyone's birthday, and then you can see when you show up to work if it's someone's birthday that day, and you can wish them a happy birthday. And then you can also do sales meetings. So maybe you want to set up a sales meetings for your service department, and this will then put a sales meeting appointment on their calendar. So they'll look at their job or look at their appointments for the day, and they'll see there's a sales meeting. So maybe the sales meeting is going to happen starting Monday the 4th, and we'll do this weekly through the rest of the year. And we know we want to get everyone in and prepped for the day. So we'll do this 7:30 to 8 a.m. And I can choose by dispatch group. And I only need my field technicians to come to this. And then any details, bring donuts and then hit schedule. Now, if we go to the 4th, that should have started there. And so 7:30 to 8 is before office hours officially start for our customers. So we'll see that sales meeting in the pre-office hours time. What's nice about this is that now this will show up on their schedule. So I will see that on my schedule and I'll know that I need to be part of the sales meeting. Then if you click into that event, you can always delete the event and get rid of it if you need to. Okay. And then appointment tags. Ooh, this one's good. This one is really good to know that you have this capability. So let's create a new appointment like normal. Let's go to our customer, Emily. And you've got job types, which is kind of like tagging. You're saying that this job is a service call or an install or a maintenance call. And that's going to come in handy with your reporting. Maybe 6 months from now, I'm going to go to my reports and look up all of my installs and see how much money did we make from installs in quarter 3 and 4. Whatever you want, you can search that because you have been setting your job types for every job. However, maybe you want an additional layer for reporting, and some of our reports will allow you to also filter by appointment tags. So I have some tags in here. Maybe I consider a no AC call as a service call, and I want to be able to pull up my no AC calls as a service call. But I also would like to isolate it as a no AC call as well. This just gives you another layer for filtering with your report. So now it will pull up with the service job type and the no AC tag. And what's nice about tags is that you can create your own tags by clicking Add New Tag. So get creative with this, however you would like to filter your data. You can add tags. That's one way to use tags. Another way is for reminders. I have one here called Bring the 12-foot ladder. And yes, technically, I could just type out, bring the 12-foot ladder every single time. But if you're busy and there's a lot going on, speed matters. And so I can put any little reminders that I know I'm constantly typing out and just make it a tag. And then you can have those tags be attached very quickly by clicking and adding it. And then my technician will see the tags right when they look at the appointment. So they'll be able to see, oh, this is a job I need to bring the big ladder. Oh, this job is an estimate. And so that's another way. A third way that you could use tags is to designate multiple appointments from one another. So for some jobs, you're going to have different phases of the job. So maybe this is a new construction job, and we'll consider this a commercial job. I want this to pull up as a commercial job, but I need to know the difference between we're going in for the initial inspection and then we're going to do, the rough-in, and then we're going to do the actual installation, and then we're going to do the final inspection. And each of those are going to be a separate appointment within one job. And so with this, this will be our new construction job. Maybe I name this, Unit 104, like whatever will remind me what job this is. But then I can come in and for this first appointment, maybe I want to tag that as visit one site prep. And I'll schedule this as visit one site prep. On my next appointment for this job, I will want to choose visit two installation. And then on my third job, I'll want to make it visit three final inspection. That way, and let's see if we can go to an example here. I do think I have one. So you can kind of see what it looks like in context. Tag, maybe? Yes. So my past self hooked me up for success. Here we go. So this job, let's say it's a big construction job or a big install that will take multiple phases. Under the appointments and service requests, this is where tags really shine. Here we go. There are three uh, appointments. I know this first one was for the site prep, this was for the installation, this was for the final inspection. And I can see that the first one Mark did, the second one Dustin did, and the third Ryan did. Let's see. So, uh, did you say the customer would or would not be able to see the tag? The customer does not see the tags. So the appointment itself, and the tags are for internal use. Let me know if that answered your question. Was that okay? Great. We have a few places that have dogs that can be aggressive. This could be helpful when going there. Yeah, yeah. So, for that example, if we wanted to, let's go back to schedule and, let's say that Bob, anytime we go to Bob's house, he's got that mean dog. So we'll come down, we'll go to appointment tags, and then we could create a new tag that says mean dog, beware. That will then show to your technician when they look at the appointment, but the invoice that you would show your customer, like the items you would show to your customer, that tag won't be a part of that. So I think that'll be helpful for you. That way you don't have to type it every time. You could just choose it. Okay. Next, let's take a look at a flag for follow-up. So we're going to go to an appointment. Let's go to this appointment. So I'm just going to hover and go to this service call. And I used this as an example earlier, so I'm just going to remove this so we can see it kind of from scratch. Okay. So flag for follow-up is an amazing way to keep track of different follow-ups that need to happen. And you can do this from the field or in the office, but every job you can click flag for follow-up right here and add a flag. And you can have so many different scenarios that needs a follow-up. Maybe you need to remember to send a bill later. You need to order equipment. You want to go out and do a quality check. Maybe you had one of your like brand new technicians who just started working for you and you just want to go check, make sure the work is good. Uh, you need to go out and do an estimate. You need to take photos, whatever it is. You can add your own follow-up types here to get nice and detailed. And then you will select the follow-up type. For this example, let's say it's a part order. And this is really cool. This is kind of diving deeper into this function. You can assign the flags. So let's say we have someone who does all of the part ordering for us at the company. I can assign this flag to them. So let's say Allison is the one who does our ordering. And I'll put a note here for Allison and say, you know, need to order this part. Let's see, try to get it in by next week, if possible, and then hit save. This now has flagged the job. You'll see a notification at the top that says a new flag has been created. And then now the flag's been made, I'm going to move on to my next job and I will, look at the flags later. To check up on your flags, you can go to the flags icon right here in the top right. Click on flags, and that will bring you to the flag for follow-up page. Essentially, you are able to see all of your flags in your system. You can click on a flag right here, the little flag icon, to update or edit these flags. And let's say that now I'm Allison and I'm showing up to work and I need to go and see, are there any parts that I need to order? So I would come to this page and I would select myself. And there we go. I have my work cut out for me. Here's the flag. I'll click on it. Okay, I need to order this part. Cool. Order the part. Then I can update my thing. Maybe on 5/1, part ordered will come in Wednesday. And now I can hit save. And then when that technician needs to go back out, let's say the part comes in, I can go to the job. I'll create a new appointment. Schedule now. Let's say we're going to send Dustin back out there again after the part has come in on Wednesday. So let's send him on Thursday. Between 1 and 2 is fine, and schedule. Dustin then picks up the part and goes to the location, installs it, marks this as complete. And then Dustin can update the flag himself. And so Dustin can then put, part installed, customer invoiced, job complete. Mark this flag as complete. That will lock in the notes and hit save. What's nice too is you can always see when the flag was last updated and who updated the flag last. Once you save a completed flag, it will then remove the flag from this. It will remove this from the flag job only view, and then that will be considered complete. And so create flags to remind yourself that a follow-up needs to happen, and then everyone on your team can work on that flag together based on the different parts of the job they need to do. And once it's done, that is no longer in your list and you move on to the next flag. All right. And we have, let's see here, we have 3 more sections. We're going to talk about time clock, some custom account settings, and some scheduling reports before we get into our Q&A. So time clock, let's talk about time clock. There are 2 time clocks in your system. There's a daily time that's meant to track your entire day, and then there's a job time clock that's meant to track just the individual jobs. For your daily time clock, which would be I work in the office, I'm coming in, I'm going to clock in for the day to start working. I'll sign in, and then right at the top right, you'll click on these numbers right here. And that will bring you to the time clock page. And, just like any job you've ever worked at, you clock in. That starts the time clock. Then you need to go to lunch. Clock out, and that will put a timestamp. Come back from lunch, clock in. and then work, 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 end of the day, clock out. All of those timestamps will be recorded in your system, and then you can go to more applications, time clock, to view those time clock entries. So everyone in your system who is tracking that daily time, you'll be able to see those here. They are grouped per day, per user, and will show you each block of time, how much each block of time is, and then a total hours worked for that day. Okay. For the job time clock, let's go to our customer, Justin Hernandez. We're just going to quickly navigate to a job. Every single job in your system has a way to clock in and clock out for the job itself. So right now we see this is Dustin Bailey and the tech status says idle. If Dustin is in the field, he can hit on my way to start that time clock, and that will then start tracking time. Dustin does the work. He finishes the job. He will mark that as complete. And then those time clock entries will be saved in your system. So each job that you're on, if you just go into the job and look, you'll see the scheduled time is what we put on the board when we initially scheduled. The actual time is what that person or that user clocked, and that's the real time that was worked. Let's say that they forgot. If someone forgets to clock out, clock in, clock out, you can just go to the job like we are here, click on the actual time, and either add or update the entries here. So let's say for this one, uh, he got there at like 9:03 and then left at 5:45. Click save. And now I've just updated the schedule for Dustin for this day. And so just to reiterate, you've got your daily time, which is happening up top here. And then you have your job time, which is going to be tracked per job. All right. And then let's go to last but not least, we will do scheduling reports. So to get to reporting, can this be tracked in the app too? Yes, absolutely. And so usually your office crew, like anyone working in the office, is going to be using the desktop version. So they're going to be tracking their time with the daily time clock up here. Your technicians out in the field, they can do the daily time to track their entire day, but each appointment they're going to hit on my way and complete for each appointment, tracking the time from the field. Let me know if that answered your question. Gotcha. Perfect. Okay. Now let's look at some reports. So we're going to go to reporting right here in the main navigation. And there are a lot of reports. So when you look at this for the first time, it can be kind of overwhelming. But luckily, each of these do have a nice little description of what the report is about. And today we're going to focus on 4 scheduling reports. So these relate to your appointments and dispatch. The first one will go, I'm going to open them all at the same time, but we're going to look at appointments right here under jobs. We're going to look at appointments and service requests. We're going to look at the job summary report. And then over here in users, we're going to look at the scheduled versus actual time report. All of these are great for understanding your schedule and dispatch data. So first, appointments. This is, you know, you guessed it. This is all of your appointments in your system. This will allow you to filter by date range. You can filter by job type. This is where your job type comes in handy. Maybe I want to look at all of my appointments I did this month that were installs. And I can look at data for this. And then let's compare that now to all of my repair jobs. We did m many more installs than repairs this month, just at a quick glance from being able to toggle by job type. You can also search by appointment status, appointment confirmation, technician. Maybe I want to spot check, how many appointments did Dustin do this month? Okay, Dustin's working a lot. And then tag. So again, I can search by tag. So if I want to see um, how many mean dog customers we worked with this month, I could do that because you can make your own tags. So that is the appointments report. Next, we have appointments and service requests. So remember, appointments are you create them and they go on the dispatch board. We know the date, time, technician, they're officially scheduled. Service requests, we do not put on the dispatch board. Those are like draft appointments. And this is a report where you can isolate your service requests as well. Something else nice about this report that the appointments report does not have is appointment notes. So I can look at all of my appointments in bulk and I can quickly see any notes that have been added without having to click into the job itself. But a lot of great information here. You can even see hours scheduled versus hours worked. And you can quickly get to the job by clicking on the red job number here if you want to investigate further. Then we have the job summary report, and this is going to help you at a glance quickly know are appointments being completed, especially with a new software. You may have some of your users who they're doing everything right. They're clocking in, they're clocking out, life is good. But you may have some of those other employees who are not using it correctly and they're not clocking in and out. And it may be hard to keep track of that if you're just trying to sift through your schedule page. So instead, you can come here to the job summary report and you can set your date range. And then right here, number of appointments. If something has been scheduled, but not completed and it's, you know, last week, something wrong happened. Um, let's see. So today's the 30th. So here's a good example. I can see we have our customer Emily on the 29th, which was yesterday. We had an appointment that was scheduled, but we did not complete that appointment. No proposals were made, no invoices were made. That's probably an issue. So let's go into the job and investigate further. I can see the technician in there, and maybe I need to just remind them, hey, you forgot to clock out. So maybe the work did get done, but they didn't clock it. But this is kind of a checks and balances pages. This is where you can really see what was scheduled versus what was completed as it relates to schedule and dispatch. And finally, we have our scheduled time versus actual time. This is great to see if anyone is maybe not pulling their weight. Maybe they are, there's a lot of unaccounted time in their day. And we now can look at this for efficiency. And so let's look at our technician, Dustin. And this will show the amount of time that they were clocked in. So I guess let me explain this. Unaccounted time is time that they are clocked in on the daily time clock, but not clocked into a job. And so, if they're going to be on the clock, they should be working a job. But if you have someone who is clocked into the daily time clock, but they're not doing anything for hours, you'll be able to see that unaccounted time here. And maybe that's something that you want to look into. But scheduled time, this is going to be the actual time we scheduled versus what the technician clocked manually from their device. So another checks and balances as it relates to time clock. Okay, that is all the information we have for today's presentation. I hope you learned something. We're going to move to our Q&A now. But before we do, I just want to say thank you so much for joining. My name is Mark with WEX Field Service Management, and this has been Schedule and Dispatch Advanced.